Martha's father's name was Shmuel Zalman. Their father was Moshe Ben, I believe was his name. And their father was the Martha Dalton's brother. This is his background from his parents' side. So my grandfather, obviously, my father definitely didn't know his grandfather's name for him, but he knew a lot of stories about him. He always told different stories. And some of them were humorous, some of them were serious kind of stories. He once told, I heard it from him many times, that he was a shadar for the Rebbe Rashab. And he came there, he was there for Simchas Torah. And the Rebbe Rashab asked him to say Magidus. Magidus, to say Drashas, Simchas Torah. So he said he can't. In front of the Rebbe, he can't speak. The Rebbe gave him a glass of 6 nights ago. No, now can he speak? Not yet. He gave him another glass. And then he started speaking. I heard from Rabbi Jacobson that everybody was rolling on the floor. That's how funny it was. Okay, I don't know what he said, but it was extremely funny. His wife...
That's where you get your sense of humor. That's where you get your sense of humor.
And he had a daughter, her name was Chana. She was married to Yisrael Nevler. And she said to her husband, I know that you have a good mouth, you can speak. You don't even touch the way my father was able to speak. So he was a big Aredler. Another story was that he was a Malamed once, and he spent a half a year at some town teaching. And on the way back, when he was traveling, he realized it was Yutas Kislev, and he ended up in a Messiah Shtetl. So what he's supposed to do? So he told people that he has Yartzeit. And he went and bought a lot of mashka. He spent his whole salary for the half year on the mashka, and he gave everybody enough to drink so they were all shikar. And he had a Yutas Kislev Fabrengen with getting all the Besnagim a little bit drunk. It's the kind of personality that sort of had a different perspective on life than we can expect normally. And finally, when he was dying already, I don't know if we can appreciate this joke, maybe Russians would appreciate it more, I'm not sure, but we're Americans, so we have a hard time with this. When he was dying, he was lying there, and his wife came over to him and says, Martha, say something. So he said to her, the tzig klapt up by tir. The goat banging on the door. He said, Shema Yisrael, and he died. The tzig klapt up by tir. That was his last words. He wasn't a person with a lot of, how do you say, tzir. Okay. My father went into Yechidus when he came to America, to the Frierdiker Rebbe. So Rabbi Simpson, Rabbi Simpson was the Rebbe's Gabbai, and he would introduce people to, he never saw the Frierdiker Rebbe, my father. He was 10 years old when the Frierdiker Rebbe left. So he came in, and Rabbi Simpson said to the Frierdiker Rebbe, dass die Worte the Rebbe said to him, to Simpson, not to my father, er gonna geschmackerit. Is that what he said? Geschmackerit? Yeah, geschmackerit. Take it for what it's worth. Okay. On the other side of the family is my grandfather Mendel and Hilda, who I knew very well, grew up with them, and I could say that I tried to learn with my grandfather a little bit, but I wasn't a very diligent student. But my early learning was from my grandfather. We lived in Norwood, Connecticut.
I don't think it was.
We lived in Norwood, Connecticut, and there was no yeshiva there. My father would send me to public school, obviously. So I learned with my grandfather. I spent an hour a day, 2 hours a day maybe learning. And then afterwards, I had the streets for myself. So one of my earliest memories as a young child is my parents, we lived next door to the same house, to the house where my grandfather lived. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that the Rebbe told my father to learn the Tziddush Parsha every week. I don't know if he meant the whole Parsha or part of it. So he made a kvias with my grandfather, and this is what stays back in my head. I was maybe 5 years old, 4 years old, where they would sit by a table and learn the Torah I remember learning Torah, the small ones, the little ones that had tiny letters in it. They learned Torah together. And a couple of years later, I still didn't get it when he told it to me, but I get it now. once my grandfather told me that he didn't think my father understood learning, but now he sees that he understands because he learned with him a little bit. One more thing, and then I'm done here. That my parents got married, before they got married, so my grandfather wasn't happy with the shidduch. He didn't like the shidduch. And my grandmother was very interested in the shidduch. And my father was close with Mendel Futterfass and Abba Pliskin. They were partners together in business. So he asked Reb Mendel, who was a cousin of my mother's, why doesn't your uncle want me? What's wrong with you? What's the impression? And Reb Mendel said to him, I really don't know. My uncle has a chush hareach for good people. What does he see that's not good with him? So my father went to see my grandfather, and he told him, I'm not marrying you, I'm marrying your daughter. You can either accept it or not, but that's where we're going. So they got married. Years later, when my grandfather passed away already, and my grandmother was sick, she had a stroke. I think it was after she had a stroke. And my father's business went very much down at the time. And he was looking for what to do. So one day, I had an uncle who lived in the Haven, his name was David Deitch, he showed up, and he said to my father, Marta, what's doing in your business? And my father was surprised, they never dealt in business with each other. So he told him, what's going on? You know, what's the deal? He said, Mark, I'll tell you what, there's a business available, you can buy it. I will help you get the loan from the bank. We'll take care of it. And he really didn't understand what the idea here was, what's going on. So he asked David, what happened? Why all of a sudden you being so benevolent? So he said, I had a dream that my mother came and said, Martha needs help. You should go and help him. And I think my father felt that this was sort of a payback for the fact that she stayed in the house for all the years that she was sick. My mother took care of her. With all of the issues that came with it, that she decided that he needs to take care of her. And we should live up to our parents, grandparents, sitting in the